You know, sometimes when speakers come to see me, they tell me that people have complained that they sound boring. They sound monotone when they're speaking. If that's something that you're dealing with, or you know somebody has a very monotone voice, please share this video with them so I can help them get out of this, because it's not a normal thing, and I'm going to talk about that today. So if you're suffering from monotone syndrome, you're in the right place. Hi, I'm Elisa James. I'm a holistic vocal coach and founder of HAPS Voice Pro, and I help corporate speakers, presenters, actors and singers step into their best voice ever so they can speak with a clear, well-behaved voice every time. So you're in the right place for some voice tips today. We're going to be speaking all about how do I not sound monotone when I'm speaking. Now, I find that the monotone sound is usually a few things. People can be perceived as boring when they sound monotone. It's like if you've ever watched Mr. Bean and he does that church scene, and the priest, and he's of course the priest as well as the person in the audience, and he's hearing the priest go, and of course, in a mumbling monotone sound, what are we as listeners going to do? We're going to lose focus, right? We're going to lose concentration. We're going to lose interest in the speaker, because the problem is it sounds like a hypnotherapist, and they're going to put us to sleep. Like, honestly, it's a great voice to listen to if you're trying to go into a deep meditation, but it's not a great voice to listen to if you're trying to get a message across, because your voice needs to be more dynamic and more interesting than that. So how do we stop being monotone? Well, the problem that I find with a lot of my speakers who complain of being monotone or boring sounding is simply because they're shy and they feel inhibited. And so they're so scared of making dynamic sound or even loud sound that they sort of hold everything back, and they mumble, and they speak really, really quietly, and they speak with this really monotonous sound all the way through their speech. Because I think it comes from a sense of not feeling worthy enough to be heard. Now have a really good think about that, and think about if that's you. It may or may not be you, but if it's you, you need to identify that, because that's when we can break these patterns of old behavior, when we really look and identify at these behaviors. So if something's holding you back from speaking with a more dynamic voice, the psychology has to change at the same time as the physiology. We really have to do it simultaneously. One without the other is not going to work. I can teach you the mechanics in my Voice Foundations online course, but the psychology you have to work out for yourself. I do have a short course called Change Your Voice, Change Your Life, the psychology behind your sound, which goes into a little bit of the background of all this sort of stuff, and it will really help some people make those identifications and move forward. So please have a look at my online course. I'll post the link below. But really, the monotone sound is mostly about psychology. But I'm going to tell you a few little tricks that you can do to change the sound, okay? The first thing you can do is bring up the pitch. Like, literally. Usually a monotone voice is very low and very muffled, and so it sort of sits in the throat and it's not resonant at all. So we need to raise the pitch just a little bit so it sounds a bit brighter. Number two, you're going to practice stepping up a little bit and stepping down a little bit. So every time that we read a sentence, you're going to practice by reading. This is a great way to start. So you pick up a book, any book, and you pick it up and you start to read. All you have to do is literally read a sentence and go higher and higher and higher in pitch, and then read the next sentence and go lower and lower and lower in pitch. And what that does is breaks the cycles that you have inbuilt into your system right now, which is monotone and really boring and really throaty. Okay, so you got the first two. The third one is Let's lift the sound more into the front of the face so that it resonates and becomes a little brighter and more interesting. So you've got your pitch that goes up and down, you've got your pitch raised a little bit, and you've got that resonance coming forward in the voice. And last, let's give it a bit more volume, and that makes it more interesting. So I hope you've enjoyed this lesson today about speaking monotone, the monotone syndrome, and how to break it. 3 little tips to help you through. If you have any other questions, or if you've got any tips or comments for me, please leave me a message below. Connect with me on Facebook, Elisa James, HAPS Voice Pro, and I'll see you online. Bye.